Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but we're the ones that encourage you to like and share them on social media. And if you want to know what's happening, check out our schedule at WPSL.com. And on the weekend, you'll find the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. So here she is right now with guests ready to go. The Sue Ellen Sanders Show with Sue Ellen Sanders.
And welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. We're so glad you're here. I have with me as guests today two lovely ladies who are representing Heathcote Botanical Gardens, who we've had on the show. Well, Joan has been on the show before, but boy, Heathcote Botanical Gardens has been on this show, probably one of our most frequent guests from a variety of board members and volunteers. And we've followed the progress of the gardens as they've grown, as they added a bonsai area, as they added children's activities, as they found their way through a pandemic. And we're really happy to have with us today Joan Friedman, who is the executive director of Heathcote Botanical Gardens, and Alicia, what is your title with Heathcote, Alicia?
I'm the horticulturist.
The horticulturist. So you're the person who gets the dirt under your nails and tells people what they should do.
Correct.
Awesome.
In very simple terms, yes.
Yes, yeah. Welcome, ladies, both of you, to the show. I know that you're beginning a busy season for Heathcote, and we'll be talking about some special events that you have coming up, and some regular events that you've done in the past that are back because they're annual events, and some new things that you're doing. But first, let's check in with Joan and just get an idea. The silver lining to this pandemic is that people have been encouraged to be outdoors. How has that created a new area of need for Heathcote?
So, Ellen, that's such an important question, because coming on as the executive director, the date of April 15th, 2020, you can imagine was extremely challenging. But I have an amazing board of trustees, and we truly work together to leverage Heathcote as the opportunity of the safe and friendly and beautiful place to be during very trying times that we are facing right now. And through those efforts, Heathcote saw a very successful year of a multitude of greater capacity of admission. We were able to really keep our membership very steady. We had so many individuals that come from reciprocal gardens. And I'll explain the reciprocal garden program. So when you become a member of Heathcote, that opens up the floodgates of so many other gardens throughout the United States. I think there are over like 25 in Florida alone that you can visit totally free under your Heathcote membership. So we really encouraged membership building and showed the opportunities there. And the value was seen by our visitors, by our community, by those who came to visit Heathcote as that safe environmental place to be. And 2021 was one of the most successful years that Heathcote has had over the past 35 years. I proudly say that information.
Well, a lot of the social events that people, as they were getting back to doing social events, and they were able to move it outside and find an outdoor venue Heathcote is right there. And so before we go into your own special events, you want to talk a little bit, either Alicia or Joan, about some of the other type of events that people can do at Heathcote and plan at Heathcote that you've seen an increase in?
Alicia, I'll start and then you chime in. I can tell you that we partnered with a lot of other nonprofits that were not able to maybe host the events that they originally had planned. So Heathcote, as not only a nonprofit itself, but as a partner in the community, offered to other nonprofits the opportunity to work and host in this safe environment. We've worked with the St. Lucie Cultural Arts Alliance, Sue Ellen, something I know you are very familiar with.
Yes.
We have worked with the Inner Truth Project. We have worked with so many different organizations, IRSC, Indian River State College, and we have just hosted a lot of classes that are specific to plants and children's activities. And I'll let Alicia kind of take it from there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. Another nonprofit that we work with is we work with a lot of local garden clubs. So we've done tours for Port St. Lucie Garden Club. We work closely with the Fort Pierce Garden Club. They've had meetings here. We've also shifted to doing education, and that's something that we can do outside. So we have had bonsai classes here. We've started having those again. We've had other educational summer camps for kids where they come and they learn with our educator, Nan Billings, and all of this stuff is outside. So not only is it promoting that, getting these kids back into nature and getting everybody outside, but it's an opportunity to still feel safe and comfortable with no matter what they're doing. We are also going to be offering some koi pond classes here in the next month. We're going to be continuing our bonsai classes. So that's just stuff that we're doing outside of our major events that we want to offer to the community.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about your own special major events, but before we do, if an organization wants to partner with Heathcote, or a company wants to partner, like Heathcote is such a great venue for doing, company retreats, for doing outdoor events, for doing after hours, membership mixers, anything of that nature. How does one get involved in doing that? How do you contact, and who do you contact to do that partnership?
The best place to start is at heathcotebotanicalgardens.org. We have a very wonderful website that will walk you through whatever process you're interested in taking part in. And that would be the best place to start gathering your information. We have our special events coordinator. Her name is Tara Scapagnato. She is excellent, and she will help you navigate through the process to see if the dates are available, to see the amount of people that you want to host at your event. And we will do everything we can to have the best experience for those that want to come, whether it be for a wedding, whether it be for a retreat for a corporate business, whether it could be a church service that you just want to have outside in the most amazing outside welcoming area in Florida, I like to say. So there's always opportunities. We're willing to work with anybody and everybody. We have Wi-Fi throughout our garden. So, just having the capability to bring in projectors and computers and to have those capabilities to bring in the support of the all the, data-driven things that you would have, let's say, for a business type of event, we are able to accommodate all of that.
And actually, I don't know, I'm sure Alicia has noticed being outdoors a lot, but the weather kind of turned a little bit this week.
Oh, yes.
So mornings it's kind of pleasant. walk out in the morning and go, ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's still hot, but it has
Yeah.
definitely been getting better. And as we continue to move out of the summer months, I will just say, make sure you're going to the website or you're calling us as soon as possible, heathcotebotanicalgardens.org. That those calendar dates are filling up fast. As this weather cools off, we are getting more and more busy by the day.
So does a business or a person have to be a member in order to book an event there?
No, they do not. Anybody is welcome to book an event at Heathcote. And we are very happy to work with anybody who wants to use our beautiful property. And when you do have an event at Heathcote, you actually get the whole garden if we're not open. So after 5 o'clock and we're closed, that 5-acre property with the 7 different garden rooms is available to whomever wants to use those different parts of the garden. So you can host hors d'oeuvres in one location, a learning landscape in another location, a meet and greet in another location. It's about like having 5 different ballrooms to your advantage, and each one of them have their own personality of how they factor into the garden landscape.
That's awesome. So Alicia, you want to talk a little bit about some of the education opportunities? You mentioned them briefly at the beginning, some of the classes and partnerships that you have with gardening organizations, because I know you do a lot with the Master Gardeners.
Yes. So I guess in general, we work with a lot of different organizations, and we are working to build our classes up more and more. And we are working with the Master Gardeners in quite a few capacities. They're going to be doing some presentations for the Garden Festival. And then as we get later on into the nicer weather, we're hoping we can set up a partnership and have a plant clinic, meaning we would have a master gardener here 1 day a week for a certain amount of hours, so that if anybody had any specific particular plant questions and they wanted to talk directly to the expert, they could be here. Not that I'm not here 5 days a week, but hey, master gardeners, they have that reputation for a reason. Also, we are working, we have a volunteer here. His name is Dave Raindollar. He has been taking care of our koi pond, and he was actually a major production in installing the koi pond. And he would like to get a group together to do a class for that, because he knows, and I have come to find that a lot of people are interested in that. So
That would be so cool.
So our first one is going to be on Thursday, October 21st. We're going to have it at 10 a.m., but we're going to do one once a month. And our next one in November, we're going to try to get on a weekend. I know it's really tough with people's schedules, but we're going to figure it out. That will be our first one that I can tell you right now. As for the bonsai class, the next one, I have a tentative date of November 24th, but it's still tentative. The bonsai curator, Tom Kehoe, has taken initiative to help me do some classes since he's the expert. I know how to do the basics, but we really want Tom to teach the class. And we're going to be trying to get another one of those together. We had one in in August, but we realized that it was just so darn hot. Everyone loved the class. We had great response from it, but it was just so darn hot that we're trying to wait to get that weather break. So that will come back. That is an absolute must. We had a lot of feedback on that. We are going to be I have volunteer days every Wednesday throughout the week from 8 to 11. And we're going to be adding a weekend volunteer day. I'm trying to coordinate my schedule so that the 3rd Saturday of every month in the mornings, if you have time and want to come out and learn from me and work in the garden and try different areas and see what skill you have, you can come on out and work with me on that. And as we continue, we'll be adding some more classes as we go. But right now, I know I want to do some butterfly classes. I know we have some more children's education stuff coming up that we want to do after the Garden Fest. Our education director has been helping me with that, or so we'll get more stuff together and I'll let you guys know as we go. But that's what I have right now is the volunteer days are a huge thing, the bonsai classes and the koi pond classes that we have coming
I'm
up.
just so excited about the thought of doing koi pond, but it has to be in the weekend because I have to bring my architect, engineer, mechanical man husband because he's going to want to be a part of the planning for that, I'm sure. And, you know, the thing about gardening and learning these things is you're never too old or too young to learn. You know,
Exactly.
different stages of your life. I have always said that I had a black thumb, and yet I kept a triple ponytail plant alive for many
There you
years.
go.
Now, maybe they're just really easy to take care of. It's entirely possible, but it's like a basil plant. You just can't kill it. But that, and still at different points of your life, whether you're a child and you're learning to love growing your own vegetables and fruits, and or you're a teenager and you're looking to do something that you can get volunteer work for your school, or you know, whatever stages, or if you're, you know, semi-retired and finding yourself with more time, being outside, working outdoors and working with your hands is, you know, a whole different level of dealing with stress. And, you know, as Joan pointed out, we're just, hopefully, we've been saying we're coming through the tunnel here. Hopefully we are still, you know, the end is near. We're hoping for, at least we've learned to deal with the issues that we need to deal with the pandemic. And, you know, now that, you know, we have those things in sight, we'll be able to do some more of the business as usual. But we're always going to need that stress relief wherever we are and whatever we're doing. So,
and I would say working in the garden, and that's why I feel like I have so many people, because I have high schoolers that come from the local high schools. They come in the afternoon and I teach them different things, and we try to do a little education each time that they're there so they feel fulfilled in it. But it really does become a therapy in a stressful situation. It's a good release. You come and you get your hands dirty and you work in the dirt, or you grow those flowers or those veggies, or you work that area and you see how beautiful it looks when you're done, the satisfaction of that hard work. It really does mean something. And
well,
I'm glad you reminded me. I just want to put one more plug in there.
sure.
The Wednesdays during our volunteer days, we are working on the community garden, and we're getting that revamped to start our veggie season. So if anybody wants to come and work specifically on learning how to grow their own food and working with food, we have that opportunity as well.
And I'm glad you brought up that vegetable garden and the community garden, because when my daughter was in elementary school, I brought her to some events. It was when you were doing Saturdays in the garden. She's in her mid-20s now, so it was quite some time ago. But it inspired her to start her own vegetable and fruit garden. And kids who are growing their own food, their own healthy food, are more likely to eat it. Some child who maybe was totally anti-vegetable to begin with sees that these are vegetables that they grew in with their own little hands in their own garden, and all of a sudden they're all excited about it. So it's good to hear all of that is coming back. And, you know, you mentioned the garden festival, and that's one of the reasons that you all are here today, to talk about the garden festival. So it's coming up right around the corner. Let's get more information on that.
All right. I'm going to tell you our Garden Fest is October 16th and 17th. On Saturdays, it will run 10 to 4, which is October 16th. And October 17th, Alicia, correct me, is it 12 to 4 on Sunday? It's 12 to 4. And it is free admission for anybody that wants to come and see the gardens and just be in the beautiful environment that Heathcote provides in its 7 different garden rooms. And we will have a lot of different vendors there of all different types of selling different types of wares, garden-esque wares, and things that are of interest to our community. We also will be having some opportunities to have lunch in the garden, and we'll be selling hamburgers and hot dogs and waters and soda. So it's an opportunity to come hungry, I hope, because we are going to be, just grilling out some great food. And then most importantly is the plants that we have for sale. We're going to have an abundance of plants, and those plants are amazing because they started from seedlings, a lot of them, Alicia and many of the volunteers, and we call them our propagators. Our propagators are one of the best avenues of fundraising that Heathcote has, because we start with virtually very inexpensive ways of creating some different types of plants and varieties that we have the opportunity to sell them at very reasonable prices at our plant sale for everybody in the community to enjoy. And I'll let Alicia kind of elaborate on that.
Great. Now, I know Chris Adams, who is your president, your forever president, as I refer to her, has always said every year when I have her on to talk about the garden festival, she says the trick is to either be the first there for the best selection, or the last people there on Sunday for the best prices.
Very true statement. Very true statement.
So
Yes.
I've tried them both. I've also, there have been times where I showed up with the kids' little red wagon, because that's the other thing that you'll find. You do have some wagons that you have available, but they go
Yes.
quick.
They do, and we try to keep them as much. We really are always herding the wagons to make sure that they're available. We even have a volunteer devoted to that scenario. But it is an opportunity to carry a lot of plants if we're not able to facilitate you with a wagon. Or if you do have small children and wagons are part of your everyday life, bring it along with you. I promise you will not be sorry.
And if you bring some of those aforementioned children too, they can help you carry stuff, and they can help you pick the things that you're going to get. I know in past years going to the garden festival, I've also enjoyed talking to the different vendors about, like Alicia said, she knows about growing everything because she's a horticulturalist.
Yes.
But okay, so yeah, kind of.
A lot, but not everything.
Okay. But these are the people who have grown this type of plant, and some of them have specialties, and it's way different than when you go to a big box store or, a store like Lowe's or Home Depot, and there's a little stick in your plant, and that stick tells you everything that you're going to find out about their plant. And it's not usually a whole lot, whereas you can have a person who gives you that information and much, much more at the gardens.
Yes, we have quite a variety of vendors this year. You will see a lot of the returning vendors that you've seen and loved in the past, and we also have a few new ones. And we're also bringing in, like Joan had mentioned, some snacks and some foods and things. So we have vendors of that sort as well. You'll see the same Funky Air Plants vendor. You'll see the same Gardens Gone Wire. You'll see the same D&D growers and the wood turners and people who have been there in the past. And they are your local folks who are out there working every day to grow this stuff. So they will have all the expertise information if you have any questions. If you want to learn to grow as a gardener in general, they'll have all that information for you. And we're going to be doing classes all day. So you get a ton of specialty education opportunities. We have not only children's events set up throughout both days all day, but we also have adult events set up for both days all day. So we have cooking classes and bonsai classes and native plant classes and pruning classes and butterfly classes. We went all out.
And I also want to share anything that you want to know, and the times of the classes will be on our website at heathcote.botanicalgardens.org. But one of the things that we're really excited about is our children's workshops as well. And we have some teachers that are coming out and educators, and we're going to be doing upcycle bird feeders. We're going to be doing terrarium building, seed starting, and self-watering containers. So this is going to be projects that we're going to have ongoing for children as they enter our children's learning landscape. And these educators will be there to assist them in the project, having them understand what they're doing and how it helps the earth, the environment, and how to grow food. So we're very excited about all the opportunities out there. And then, like we said, we are going to have cooking classes, and we're going to have the butterfly life cycles. And like I said, everything on the Saturday with the times for our classes is on our website, and Sunday as well. So please go visit. And we have a very special guest coming to do our cooking classes, Sue Ellen, my friend, and yours, Susanna Hauer, who is
Awesome.
an amazing
Yes.
chef, and she's like, the cuisine queen. And
Yeah.
we're excited about her becoming part of our garden adventure this year, sharing her skill set of and her love and passion for cooking. So I know I can't wait for that. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, it's not just little kids who like to eat the stuff they grow themselves. It's us
Exactly.
big kids too.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Alicia, I haven't met you face to face, but I'm curious, how does one become a horticulturist, and why is that what kind of background did you have? Why is that the direction you chose to go into? Or have you always loved plants?
I've always loved plants. So my background, my education, I have a bachelor's of biology and a minor in environmental sciences. And I've always been interested in sustainability and conservation and environmentalism. Somehow I grew up on my grandma's farm, and that's where I learned how to grow, my own vegetables, and we had chickens, and, we kind of always took care of the land. So that's where the passion started. And then it just continued through school and through college, and I ended up graduating with that. I ended up in Florida because my mother is a nurse, and I moved down here with her. I'm from Ohio originally. And ever since I came to Florida, my passion has been plants, whether it be teaching education, or like my first job was teaching education to teens, agriculture. I taught them how to grow their own food. I've worked on multiple different varieties of farms, and I also have my own small business where I work with plants. I've done landscape design and landscaping in that aspect for 5 years now here in Florida. So I've done a little bit of everything.
So this is a culmination of all the different
Yes.
things you're doing.
Yes. I don't know, God brought me to this location because by a miracle, I met Joan, and she knew I was fit for this position. And that's what I told her. I was like, Joan, this is literally a culmination of everything I've done, and this is where I'm supposed to be. So that's why I got here.
Designed for you.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add one other thing. I was interviewing a number of individuals for the horticulturalist position, and I always gave a tour as I was interviewing and seeing their knowledge and, how they reacted to some of the collections that we have. Alicia stopped in the middle as we were walking into the children's garden and saw one of our elephant ear leaves were just not looking as good as it could be. She went and got a stick and propped it up so that it had the opportunity to fulfill its destiny of growth. And I'm like, I was hooked.
Yeah.
It
That's,
was-
that's like when
it was that moment.
that's like when you're interviewing people for a babysitter and your baby starts crying and they immediately go over there. Those plants are your babies.
Exactly.
They really are.
Exactly. So it was the nurturing part that I was able to see on the interview. And I'm like, if somebody's going to be like that on a job interview, I can imagine how wonderful. And it has been a wonderful experience. I mean, Alicia has
Awesome.
wonderful.
I love it here. I'm obsessed.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I love hearing about your background too. So in Florida, you're dealing with very different types of plants and seasons than you did
Yes.
in Ohio.
I had to relearn everything. My degree helped. I understood all the basics, but the seasons are exactly opposite. And how you deal with plants in the humidity is completely different.
Mhm.
But thankfully, I'm going on year 7 here. I think I've gotten a good handle on it. But at first, it was tough because I had to relearn a lot of what I knew.
Yeah. And then our terrain too, with especially people who are over near the beach where there's more sandy terrain and people who are out west where it's a different type of dirt.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different ballgame. I'm not knowledgeable about any of it. I just know it's all different.
You're not wrong.
So anyhow, so you have October 16th and 17th, the event coming up. It's going to be completely free of charge for people to attend. And then you would purchase your plants or whatever type of other planting materials from the vendors, and they can give you all the information, and then the education you were talking, Joan, about some of the different classes that people can take, and you can see all of that on your website.
Yes, that is correct. At Heathcote Botanical Gardens.org. And it's garden festival presentations, and you'll find it on our website. And it will give you the times of all the different classes and offerings that we have.
So after you have the garden festival, then you're going to move right into, more education, some of the different classes that Alicia talked about, some other opportunities for partnering with other nonprofits that you have coming up. And then in December, well, actually starting at the end of November, you're going to have the Festival of Lights.
Yes.
Lights, yes, we are.
Garden of Lights, yes. And I know that this is something that's near and dear to Sue Danahauer's heart because she was talking about it with me. And when you start that Garden of Lights, you're going to need so many volunteers. Actually, your volunteers work on it all year round, don't they?
Is very true. So our volunteers actually do work on it all year long. It is amazing. They really are. They're in the planning stages from January, from when they put the lights away, to when they're really making their purchases, which happen in March and April. They do it that way. And then they start coming into the garden, scouting out their different locations that they will put all of their different beds and the landscapes that they're creating, the lighted landscapes. And the one thing about Garden of Lights that people, I think even when they come in, there's still some education that really needs to occur. These are artistic light renderings. So what I mean by that is these light sculptures are created with wires and lights, and then they blend into either an oceanscape or a winter scene or a French on the Seine in Paris. We have all of these different opportunities that we are going to have available for Garden of Lights. So we're creating environments through lights, sculpture, artwork, and just the brilliance of the garden backdrop. And it's amazing.
Joan, we're going to give Alicia a little bit of time to talk about this, if you don't mind. And I'm going to ask you if you could troubleshoot your microphone. I don't know if it's your computer mic or if you have something near it, but we're getting some feedback. Are you using your computer microphone?
I am.
Okay. Sometimes if your cell phone is right next to it, you might get some feedback with that. But let's go ahead.
I'll move my cell phone over. Okay.
Let's see if that-
Well, I mean, I can continue on that. The
Okay,
Garden
why
of
don't you
Lights
continue?
folks, they work all year round, and the times that they are not actually physically here in the garden, they are planning to be here in the garden. So they started 2 weeks ago, and they're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If anyone would like to come volunteer and help them set lights up or learn how to do that, they are always accepting volunteers. You can join us at the garden during hours in the morning. I think they start at 9. But otherwise they are setting up all the way through November. The day after Thanksgiving is our first night. And I'm just going to reiterate, if you have any questions or if you're interested in getting some pre-order tickets or things like that, you can go onto our website at heathcotebotanicalgardens.org. We have a lot of stuff up there in terms of information if you're curious about joining us. It's a great, awesome, fun family event. They change up the lights every year, so when you come back, you're not seeing the same thing. And they add more and more lights every year. If I'm not mistaken, Joan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're up to like 500,000 lights. We're serious. It's a
Really
lot of
close
lights.
to it. I believe so. It is
Yeah.
just an amazing artistic spectacle. It really is.
And, you know, I love the fact that, Alicia, you're talking about volunteers doing this, and if they want to be trained in doing this, because if you want to really get better at doing your lights at home, coming and
Yep.
working on the Garden of Lights at Heathcote is one great way to learn how to do some of this really great stuff.
Mhm.
So come and figure it out, get some ideas or bring your ideas. One of the other things that's really cool about both the Garden of Lights and then also the other areas of the garden that you're doing all year round is it's an art itself. So you're painting with those colors, whether you're placing them with lights or whether you're using flowering plants or vegetable plants. You're creating the beauty that is an art in itself. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I like the way that you put that. I know being here with the bonsai, we are already a living art. We are a living museum as it is, but that's a really lovely way to put that. And that's how I would see it when I'm designing a landscape. You want your colors and you want everything to flow and coordinate. So that's a beautiful way to put that.
Mhm.
One of the other groups of people who use the garden, I know on a regular basis, are people who are planning photographs. If you want to plan family photographs, if you are a photographer and you want to have some of the most beautiful backdrops without having to pay a lot of money to get them, visiting Heathcote Botanical Gardens with your clients or your family or your kids is one sure way to be able to do that. Do you have a photographer that works with you on a regular basis, or is it just everybody?
The photographer actually have a myriad of photographers, and we try to utilize each of them fairly that are friends to Heathcote. So there's about 3 or 4 of them. They are all extremely talented and excellent, and we try to make sure that each one of them has the opportunity to come out and to take the photos and utilize their talents to bring the photos to life.
And then, of course, the special events that lend themselves to photos, like weddings, or engagements. Oh, that's a whole other category.
It most definitely is. And you can, the one thing that the garden allows is the freedom of expression. So we have all these different weddings that have all these different themes. And we just, as long as they're not impeding on anything that has to do with the botanical collections that we have at Heathcote, we let people decorate to their choice of what they want their theme to be for their photos. And then the gardens just enhance and beautify their opportunities of making that special day for themselves.
And they can pick the location. Alicia, I'm going to let you describe again some of the different, like you said, the different buildings and areas. Joan, we're still getting a little bit of feedback with you, so I want to give Alicia an opportunity to talk about this.
I can absolutely talk about each of the garden rooms, but also something I wanted to mention that Joan hadn't touched on yet is we also offer an amazingly competitive photographer membership. So if you want a place where you are kind of, that's your designated place to take pictures, or it's an option to give your clients, say, you know, you have someone who wants to do an engagement photo and they say, well, where should we do it? That's something that you can have in your repertoire as a photographer at a very competitive price.
So you have a photographer membership.
Yes,
Yes,
that
we
out
do.
there.
We do have a photography membership. I did change the system speaker and mic. Does that help at all?
It's helped a little bit. I'm still getting a little bit of feedback, and I just don't, you know, no, that's okay. But, you know, you can chime in, and let's just maybe let Alicia take a little bit more of the lead. She sounds like she's got some stuff. And you talked about memberships.
Yes.
Between the two of you, can you tell me more about the different membership opportunities that are available?
So yeah, we have a variety of memberships that are available. We have a tier, it's like a tiered membership. So you can do an individual, a family, and then so on and so forth based upon your donation size. It goes up from there. I think our highest one is a Royal Palm membership. But photography membership, just because we were talking about it, was one that I mentioned in there because I feel like it could be utilized much more. More people could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Did anything you want to add in there, Joan? I know that was pretty brief.
So when you go up the tiers of membership, there are many more opportunities of benefit. So again, visit our website at heathcotebotanicalgardens.org, and it will explain the different levels of membership and why the tiers go up. But it's an investment in Heathcote. But our Royal Palm membership has a plethora of benefits that are just a very a community that really is exclusive to one another, that people who have a real passion for Heathcote and for the area and for working as a nonprofit, they are the shining stars that help us keep Heathcote available, you know, basically all year long, and have been here for 35 years. So we're so thankful to all of our members and our board of trustees and our volunteers.
And all of the memberships are listed on your website as well.
That is correct.
Yes.
And all of your memberships include the reciprocal ability to go and travel and see, as Joan said, like 25 different gardens in the state of Florida alone, but also gardens all over the United States.
Correct. And you can find that information on our website as well. There's a list of the reciprocal gardens there, and it's heathcotebotanicalgardens.org.
Okay. And, you know, the garden festival is coming up October 16th and 17th, and it's a Saturday and Sunday. You've got the plant sales. You also have gardening type tools and art that is usually on sale there too. So other things for your garden other than just the plants.
Mm-hmm.
And you have information on straight from the gardener's mouth on how to grow everything. I've seen in the past too where people have brought in like soil samples from the area that they were trying to find a plant for, or pictures that showed how much shade that area did, and then the vendors could tell them what would grow best. So
Yeah, we can, I know that we're growing things here. We have our own plant sale behind the Heathcote house, and we're doing things a little different from the vendors. We have lots of begonias and lots of different kinds of lilies and agapanthus and other native varieties as well. I've got some beauty berries and some honeysuckles out there, but I can help you with that stuff and anything here in the garden. But if you get something from one of the vendors that's area specific or soil specific, they'll be able to give you that information as well. So either one of us can be here to help you. And thankfully, I have the old horticulturist, Miriam Charles. She will be here that day as well, helping. So we've got plant info covered.
yes, you do. So even if you think you can't grow something, the question isn't whether you can or can't, it's what you need. You need to have something that's very easy to grow, and you and Miriam and some of the vendors can give people advice on that too. So don't
Absolutely.
be afraid to share that information too. If you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of time to spend, there's some types of plants that take more time and more action, and that you have to do things for them. And there's other plants, again, I will mention some of the herbs that, like basil, where you could pretty much plant that wherever and it's going to grow like wildfire. But how much basil can you use? But there's a lot of fun things that you can grow. The other thing that I find that I've heard a lot of people asking is, sometimes you're trying to grow a plant or a tree that you're trying to fit in a certain place. Like sometimes you see the plantings on in the middle of a medium, and you don't realize how big that tree is going to grow. Yeah. And then they need to be cut back. Well, the same thing, you may want to have something outside your door or in your front area. And so you don't want something that's going to grow really tall. You want something that's going to grow wide. I'm sure I'm not using planting terms there, but that's okay.
I understand what you're saying. Yes. And this is what they teach in the Master Gardeners, and I stick with it because it's done right by me. Right place, right plant. That is what I always teach to my volunteers and to my other cohorts. That's what we call our plantee volunteers. And we can tell you where that is. I can give you whether or not that plant is going to be huge or small and things like that. So we can give you some advice on that as well.
So awesome. So that's great. So again, October 16th and 17th is the Garden Festival. It's free to everybody and it's all weekend long. What are the hours again, Joan?
The hours on Saturday, the 16th, are going to be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the hours on Sunday are going to be noon to 4 p.m. All are welcome, and Heathcote hopes that there's a lot of first timers coming and that they get to witness the beauty of Heathcote.
Well, one thing we haven't shared yet for people who don't know where Heathcote is, how to get there. So let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at 210 Savannah Road, right off of US 1. There was a Dairy Queen on the corner, but it is now since closed down. But it's 210 Savannah Road, lots of free parking. We'll have 2 or 3 parking lot areas and people out there to direct you to a safe parking spot for all of your garden festivities for the day.
So you can either come in through, you can access through Indian River Drive or US 1.
Yeah.
And turn on I'm dating myself here, but where Nature's Way Gym used to be on Savannah Road was the turn. And you'll see Savannah Road coming up, whether you're coming from the north or the south. And then you'll start to see the traffic and the parking along there, because you'll always see a lot of people pulling in for this. You do a garden sale a couple times a year, right, Joan?
We have one in the fall and one in the spring when it's good planting times. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, the other thing that we talked about today was the Garden of Lights, and that's going to be beginning the day after Thanksgiving. But you have volunteers who are meeting now, Alicia says. So if you
Yes.
want to be a part of that, you can come.
Our illumination team, and they are the behind the scene magical makers, and they're called our illumination team, and they are amazing, and they work all year long tirelessly, creatively, and they do this all for a love of Heathcote Botanical Gardens.
Okay, Alicia, you're the horticulturalist, and you've got your hands in the dirt and the plants and the planning. Joan, you're the organizer and planner as the executive director, and you work together with a number of people, including a whole host of volunteers, as Joan described. But all of that information, you do have social media channels that people can look at. You could look up Heathcote Botanical Gardens on Facebook or Twitter. And you can also, if you pay attention, you'll start seeing photographers tagging Heathcote Botanical Gardens in their photos. Think of them, because there's certainly something that is an asset to the community, and have been here. And now that we're coming out and being more social and doing things and going to classes or events, going outside to Heathcote Botanical Gardens is really a no-brainer. So Joan Friedman is the executive director of Heathcote Botanical Gardens, and we appreciate you joining us today. Alicia, what is your last name again? I've already forgotten it.
Kiefer.
Kiefer with
Yes,
a K, right?
Yes. Yes.
She is a horticulturalist, and you can reach either one of them through Heathcote. You can look at their website. What's the phone number to reach you by to?
464.
I'm going to let Alicia repeat that.
772-464-4672.
Okay, thank you both for joining me today. You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and we'll see you next week with more.